Hey everybody, I'm Bob Walters. This is a bonus episode of Local Film Talk. This is a Q&A from the first block of short films at the 10th Annual Carrboro Film Festival, which was held back in November of 2015. So we hope you guys enjoy it. I'd just like to thank the Carrboro Film Festival, the Carrboro Art Center, and especially festival director Nick Beery for letting us cover the event and put this out as an episode for you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. And here we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to have the people involved. Go ahead, slide this way. Slide over here. We pass the mic to them, get them to introduce themselves and the project that they worked on.
My name is Antonio Green, and I was on the RECYCLERY film.
I'm Richard Giorgi, and I was in the RECYCLERY film as well.
I'm Nick, and I made that film.
I'm Tracy Facelli. I'm the writer-director from How I Got Made.
I'm Ish. I'm the cinematographer for Meredith's movie Keepsake.
I'm Meredith Sause. I directed Keepsake, and I also played Misty.
I'm Tracy Coppage, and I was in Keepsake.
I'm Mike Ray Anderson from A Polished Soul, the Mike Ray Anderson story.
Yeah.
And I'm Adam, and I edited the Mike Ray Anderson story.
All right, we're going to open the floor up for questions. If you don't mind, I will start off if I could. I wanted to ask each group what was the most difficult task or obstacle when you were making your film?
Well, in all actuality, what was the most difficult task with this film is that I actually had to revisit some places that were hard to revisit. Just alone, you know, I'm currently a filmmaker myself and an actor, but sometimes when you have to go into your own head and your own story and act out what it was that was your demise, it kind of like wants to, prevent you from even going to that level. But then you have to think about the bigger picture and be like, you know, we live in a YouTube generation, and our youth no longer like to read or whatever. They just like to watch videos on YouTube. So I felt like, well, this message needs to be as powerful as it can to make sure that we can take my whole life story, congest it into a short film, and give that message that's necessary to resurrect our dead youth in the streets. So the hardest thing about this film was actually revisiting those dark places.
How do you follow something like that? The feathers, getting the feathers right was the most difficult thing. Yeah.
She said it.
Well, in Keepsake, again, I don't know how we're going to follow that, but but Keepsake, the whole house that was rented was a hot set, including the bathroom. So going to the bathroom was kind of challenging because you couldn't knock anything over. There was rolls of toilet paper that were going to the ceiling. That was our bathroom. So that was the hardest part. Yeah.
On my set, Milo, that played the younger brother, found, I guess, my friend whose house we used had this gigantic bowl of leftover Halloween candy. And the hardest thing was keeping him out of the candy, actually. He was very good at sneaking around.
That's exactly the same with Rich. There really was no challenge with this film. These guys are awesome. Rachel Fiorentino, all the folks at the RECYCLERY. If you don't know about it and you live here in Carrboro or Chapel Hill, it is a DIY bike shop. And if you need a bike or if you want to learn how to repair your bike, and believe me, I am afraid of fixing things, these guys can show you how to do it, and then you'll be helping other people. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. So it was just great.
I've been described as a casual cursor. And my biggest challenge was try to get Nick to edit out that part where I cursed because we're a family group, and that didn't work, so it stayed in. So we fix shit for free.
My hardest challenge was trying not to stutter, but I did, but it's okay though. I still had, fun filming and just hanging out at the shop.
His biggest challenge is actually not looking at the footage as it's being filmed so to see how good he looks during the filming.
I did look good though.
Hang on. Oh. So questions? Anyone? Yes.
For the recycler guy, I'm actually cleaning out an old house that is done green frame. Where are you?
We're at the back of 108 North Graham Street, which is behind the Barcade now. It's across the street from Greenbridge. So the Baxter Arcade, it's the new bar with the huge arcade sign, and now they have a gigantic Darth Vader holding a candy cane or something like that on the roof. It's really hard to miss in town. So we're right back there, and we're open every other weekend. So we were open this weekend. We'll be open again the first weekend of the month, the first full weekend. Or email us. It's just bikes@recyclery.org, and we'll arrange something the time that you can come on by. But, you know, thank you for the donation.
Other questions? Yes, right here in the back.
For keepsake, I want to know how long it took to make your set.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of a guy named Derek Ivey. He's local. He does a lot of theater sets. He came in and we both built together these rolling pieces, and it took about a week. Some of the set pieces that were against the wall were more static installations, and then some of the other pieces were on rolling movers dollies so that we could use them more than once for different setups. We actually had to turn a room around, but I think it took about a week to build, you know, being there all day.
Yes, right here in front.
Our friends. You. Yeah.
It's amazing that you said that, because sometimes if a project is so dead set and there's a determination behind it. Originally, this was designed for an EJI project, which was, yeah.
It's a Equal Justice Initiative, which is based in Alabama, Birmingham. But that project sort of fell through, but we felt passionate enough. This is me and my team, Digital Development Communications, we're a local film production company, that we wanted to see it through. And we started working with Mike. We probably worked over a year and a half on the project. So no funding, to answer your question.
Yeah, but we are seeking funding for the actual full feature movie.
I work in the industry. I work as a camera assistant on lots of things. So anytime I would travel, you get what's called per diem, where they just give you money to spend. So I would not spend that money. I would save it. It took about 5 years. I knew I wanted to do a movie eventually, but I didn't have one set. So they gave me time to work on my script as well. And then I was incredibly lucky that, we didn't roll the end credits because they're crazy long. I told Nick he could cut those off. But the end credits, pretty much everybody on that, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, the crew all volunteered their time, and they're pretty much the crew that works on the TV show Nashville. I've been a camera assistant for like 14 years, and I've known all these people. When we did the film, probably the least amount of time I'd known somebody was 8 years. And I just kind of said, I'm doing a film, who wants to help? And I was shocked at the amount of people that wanted to help, so that was awesome.
Yeah. And I will say that's true here in the Triangle as well. There are filmmakers and crew members that we all help each other on our films, and it's fantastic. It's a community. It's a family, really. What was the question? Funding. Funding. Actually, I'm a producer, and I do a lot of corporate work and TV commercials and things like that. And there's a production company out in Los Angeles, and they actually said, do you have something really cool that you can make a very short documentary about your town? And I found these guys. And so they gave me a small amount of money to produce it, which I then gave some to you. Yeah.
You did.
Questions? Anyone? Yes, right here. Why did they make the films?
Did you see our film? Why wouldn't you make a film about us? We're awesome.
Well, I've wanted to make movies since I was very, very young, and this particular story is some of it based in truth, perhaps. And a friend of mine told me that is a writer told me he thought it would be a good short film. So I wrote it, and then I was teaching kind of a kids on camera acting class, and I met the little girl, Briley, and I was like, oh, she would be perfect for this, so I better do that quickly before she's too old. And then it just kind of went from there.
Well, I think it sprang out of my need as an actor to make my own piece of work. Because as an actor in North Carolina, you know, there's only so much that you are cast in. So I felt really driven, and I'd always wanted to make my own film. So that's kind of where it came from. And I felt like I had a really great support network and friends who were all involved in filmmaking. And I came to a place where I felt like I was supported enough and I had enough guidance that we could actually pull it off. So that's where it came from.
Meredith asked me to, so.
And I was just discussing this with Adam. When we were working on this project and the first project fell through, I showed up on the set. I said, look, I'm dying without my passion. I want to get involved with filmmaking and all this other stuff. So I jumped on board with DDC. So I had released the autobiography last year, and the autobiography was for those that love to read. And as I said earlier, a lot of the youth don't like to read. And so me and Adam were sitting down one day, and Adam was like, well, what's up with the Mike Anderson project? I said, I don't know, Adam, what's up? And so we started talking, and I was like, you know, there's some things that I want to do with it. I'm actually going to start touring into the detention facilities for juvenile justice in reference to adjudicated youth to show this film. And I actually will be doing it real soon right here in Butner with Polk Youth Institution, and then I want to do it throughout the whole nation because I feel like, again, our youth are visual. There's a whole population of youth out there that we need to resurrect. They're dying in this system. Their minds are dying, their spirits are dying. And since I survived it, you know, I feel like I can go in and say, look, it's not over. Let me tell you what's going on out here, what I'm doing, but let me show you what I went through first, so that the before and after effect to me can be a powerful message to those minds and those spirits.
Any other questions? Yes, back here in the back.
It's also entitled A Polished Soul, the Mike Ray Anderson story. My nonprofit is Polished Souls Foundation Incorporated, based out of the Triangle area. And I do a lot of gang intervention, go to alternative schools, speak to the youth, deal with them, create a lot of workshops based on the arts and film and, you know, shooting videos and stuff. And the book, I mean, it's available on Amazon. But it's my way of also becoming productive, because honestly, I could have came home, hooked up with a lot of my friends down in Miami or up in New York, and got right back in the streets and made twice the money that I'm making. Or, I mean, 100 times the money that I'm making, but I know that was not the right way. So I had to become productive with my creativity and tell my story as well.
Right here.
Yes, I deal with transition. When I was at Dames, I would pull in guys left and right that came home to make sure that they was employed, and then I knew other people that trusted my judgment and my discernment, and I would get a lot of guys, you know, jobs in different places at different organizations or whatever, what have you. And the thing about it, I'm glad you asked that question, because the recidivism rate is climbing. They're not telling you that it's climbing because they create these new laws that's releasing people, so the statistics fall back. It's like a trick. But in all actuality, you got several 100,000 people waiting in jails to go to those same prisons that they just released people from. So, but these people that they just released based on these, you know, unlawful laws, they need something. So what I try to do is I go to people and convince them, hey, you know, I try to be that model. I try to say, look, we can come back and we can do this. So give us a chance. You know, give us the opportunity and see our worth. Because a lot of us do come back remorseful, and we want to give back to society, and we want to make sure that we can bring something to the table that you never thought we could.
Yes, back in the back.
That was actually a one-time conversation. What the story goes, I had just got through reading James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. Awesome, powerful little book, not even but so big. And it started like transforming me right there in that moment. But right after I read the book, I was out on the yard and had that encounter. So it was like seeds were being planted. And this guy, it was just so happened that he was able to see me the day before he transferred to another prison. And had I seen him the next day, I probably would have, but never got his name, was kind of like thrown it back because he was watching me, like I said in the film. And when you're in prison, I'll be honest with you, somebody watching you, you got to question that. And so, and me, here I am, this little high yellow, light-skinned kid from the streets that's all up in there. You know, I know I'm not ugly, and I know the stories that I heard about prison. So I'm like, yo, who's this dude right here? So, I'm just, my guard is up already, and I'm just like, I'm not going out without a fight. But so he's gone. But there was more people as time went on, and it was like God placed them in my life to make sure those seeds were planted and be like, you know what, bro, you ain't even supposed to be here. Let's get this over with and get out there and do what you need to do.
We got time for one more quick question. Yes, right here.
What we've done at the Carrboro Film Festival is, if you look in your program and on the website, carborofilmfestival.com, we did put the email of all the filmmakers. So it may not be the easiest way to look at all the films at once, but if you really like something, email the filmmaker. I know as a filmmaker myself that if you email me, I will happily share with you the link to the video with the password online. Is that true for everybody? No? Unhappily.
Well, while the film is on the festival circuit, you're not allowed to have it online. A lot of festivals will, don't look kindly upon that. And so you have to wait until it's kind of out of circulation.
If you email me, I'm Tracy, I did How I Got Made, I will make sure you get a copy. Great. Oh, and Michael, I wanted to tell you, the little girl in my film, as part of her research for the 1980s, I gave her a big stack of Nancy Drew books. And I told her, you don't have to read them all, but at least look through the first one and kind of get what Nancy Drew is about. She read all 10 of them, and she's working her way through the thing. So there's one kid reading. I just want to let you know that.
Okay, how about another round of applause? Yeah. Again, we're gonna break for about 15 minutes and then start with the next block.